Good afternoon. The April 17th meeting of the Oklahoma City Water Utilities Trust will consider to be in order. First item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from the April 3rd meeting.
Move approval.
Motion and a second to approve the minutes. Are there questions or comments? Hearing none, voting please. Minutes are approved. Next item is the consent docket.
Move the consent docket subject to individual consideration.
Second. Have a motion and a second to approve the consent docket subject to individual consideration. Are there items to be looked at separately? Hearing none, voting please. Consent docket's approved. Next item is the concurrence docket. 4 items on the concurrence docket.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the concurrence docket. Are there matters here to be considered separately? Hearing none, voting please. Concurrence docket's approved. Next item, items for individual consideration. Item 5A is a resolution of the Water Utilities Trust approving the updated 5-year financial plan.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the resolution approving the plan. Are there comments?
Mr. Chairman, just as a background, your financial advisor, PFM, was here at your last meeting to describe the plan. The key thing that staff was interested in was whether we could move forward some capital items that were found to be critical in last year's high water use that came with the drought and heat of 2011. They found that we could do that and encourage, of course, the continuation of your strong financial policies. I do want to point out, because I think it's important that we staff members all hear it again, that while we are pursuing a second Atoka pipeline, we do not have a detailed plan for that large investment yet. We have a concept, not a month-by-month or year-by-year detailed bidding schedule, which is going to be critical to those later years of the financial plan. And we'll be talking with you more about that as the system engineer develops more information for us about our options and go forward on that large implementation program.
Any other comments? We have a motion. We have a motion and a second to approve. If there are no other comments, voting please. Item 5A is approved. Next item, item 5B.
Mr. Chairman, staff presents a report today about a vacated piece of land, 40-acre residence and land lease in the 6300 block at Southeast 149th Street. The house requires substantial renovation. The value of the land remains intact. We believe we can renovate the building if that's your desire. We believe we can vacate the land, also and lease it simply for grazing. I think the first thing is that
unless we're making a lot of money from the project, I think we ought to just demolish it and turn it over to a grazing, rent it that way. There's no obligation. We're not going to do anything to it.
I would agree.
There's pictures on the monitor.
Any other comments? I hate to see these things torn down, but look, given these estimates, it doesn't appear to make much sense to do anything else. Any other comments? We need a motion one way, or actually we would just, I guess you'd bring back something, would you not?
yes, sir, we would.
Well, then I suspect you've heard the comments.
Thank you.
At 20 times annual revenue to replace it, this doesn't sound like a big deal.
Okay, we do a motion to receive the report.
Move and receive the report.
Second.
Motion and a second to receive the report. Voting, please. Report's received. Next item is item 5C, resolution and settlement of billing disputes with Gaillardia or executive session. I suspect we need executive session.
I would recommend we go into executive session, sir.
Okay.
Move to executive session.
Second.
Voting, please. We'll have executive session when this meeting is over. Next item is discuss entering into an executive session with regard to the water rights lawsuits. Do we need executive session for that? We do not. Consider that item stricken. Next item are items from the trustees. Are there comments from any of the trustees? Next item is item 7, the general manager reports. First one is item 7A, which is the fiscal year monthly pro forma through February 2012.
So we have no specific details to draw your attention to. Obviously, we made some additional income on the water side in the very dry summer months. We're on wastewater slightly behind income, but we also had a very dry year for this wastewater utility as well. So things are going well. Questions?
Did the rainfall last weekend?
It did. Lake Hefner is up, it's at 1197 and a half, I think, which would be 1.5 to 2 feet from full. So we're very excited about that. Lake Canton has been rising over the last several days. The watershed in the northwest part of the state, some of the water takes a long time to get to Lake Canton and is not there yet. So we don't have don't know how much the rain impacted Lake Canton. It's at about 60,000 acre-feet of water now. Much better, still has about 7.5, 8 feet to go. But very pleased. Virtually no rain hit our watersheds in the southeast. For as wet as it was over in the western part of the state, as uniquely wet as it was. The southeast remains, those lakes are virtually full, however. Lake Atoka is about 1.5 feet from overflow, and McGee Creek Reservoir has bounced at the flood pool level for the last 3 or 4 weeks. Lake Draper is at, thank you, Sam, 1168. It has about 40,000 acre-feet of water.
It's close to 48,000.
Thank you, Sam. So doing well.
How close is it to being full?
It is about 18 feet from what we would consider to be our normal level. So we've come up quite a lot. We're comfortable for the summer. We're pumping at about 83 million gallons a day. I should tell you that because the power system on the pipeline is sensitive to large storms, that we have shut the pipeline down or turned it down a few times as these spring storms have come through our area, so we don't surge the pipeline unnecessarily. But that's something, the art of the operation of the system, too much information perhaps. But anyway, the flow coming down the pipeline is varying as we go through summer storms, but generally we're hitting 83 and we're pretty excited about being able to produce that much water. It's the first time in maybe 10, 15 years that we've been able to do that.
What's the estimated time that Draper will be back to normal?
I think based on the,
Spring?
Sam's going to help me with this, but based on the very dry weather, it's probably not next summer.
Yeah. Based on the simulation that we've run, we're hoping that to get to the normal water elevation about 1183 probably by next summer.
Next summer.
Yeah, a little past summer, around September, I believe. If the weather patterns go back to normal, we may get a little bit earlier.
And we have to, as the elevation, we need a certain elevation before we can float the new boat stalls.
That's correct.
And that's 1178?
1178, I think, but I'll check on that one.
So another 10 feet before we can install the new boat stalls.
There's some fishing pier on in the far southeast corner. It's just about to get under, just about to start to float again, it looks like. It's filling up. I'm going to take a motion on both reports at the same time. There is a report by the Water Department succession planning efforts. It's just a one-page report. If you'd like for Marcia to comment on it, she can do that.
Would you like to wait until after? Susan McCormick will make a presentation for you if you would
Oh, okay.
like to hear it.
Hi, we appreciate the opportunity to brief you today on the Utilities Department's succession planning efforts. For some time now, our division managers have recognized that we have a pending loss of organizational knowledge and history due to retirements. So we identified that as an issue a few years ago during our strategic business planning process. And at that time, we said the increasing number of retirements and difficulty in recruiting and retaining qualified employees, if not addressed, will impair the utility's ability to maintain and improve service reliability. A large number of our seasoned leaders are close to retirement or could retire in the next 5 years. 37% of our mid and upper management or supervisory positions are eligible now or within the next 5 years. And if you take it out a few more years, it's almost up to 50%. These are examples of some of the classifications of employees that could retire very soon. In our field and maintenance operations areas, we've got 36% of our chief plant operators, 50% of facility and plant mechanics supervisors, 63% of field operations supervisors, 57% of unit operations supervisors. And in our technical and engineering areas, 50% of our civil engineer 4s, our top-level civil engineers, 66% of engineering assistants who provide support to those engineers, and 100% of our top 5 SAP or billing system positions could retire now or in the next 5 years. Looking at the management and administrative support staff, 66% of our division managers could retire, 83% of management specialists, and 45% of unit operations leaders. And that it doesn't necessarily represent, well, what it tells us is this is based on years of city service, and it excludes those who are nearing retirement age but may only have a few years of city service. So really, the percentages could be a little higher. So the question is, how do we address this pending loss of organizational talent and history? And so the division managers and the director and assistant director during our strategic business planning process decided that we obviously needed a systematic approach. And what we needed to do was expand the promotional candidates through broadening our employees' workplace skills. So we created a succession plan, and during the strategic business planning process, we said by the end of fiscal year 2012, we will have developed a workforce succession plan that identifies career progressions and training requirements. And so we've been working on that for the last couple years. And this shows an example of career ladders within our existing structure, and our succession plan shows that in a variety of areas. So part of the succession planning steps that we had to look at in the last few years were, first, we had to identify key leadership positions within the department. And we determined that ranges 5, 10, and above, which is the mid-management and above, would be those key leadership positions within our department. And basically, of 733 positions, about 150 of those are key leadership positions. So we ask our division managers to identify those competencies, skills, and success factors that they considered critical for key leadership positions. And so they spent some time evaluating their staff and working on those, identifying those key leadership factors. And then we asked them to inventory our current staff strength. And what they found was we really had a limited applicant pool, and so we really needed to develop our employees. Some of the competencies that they identified that we need to work on are fundamentals of leadership, business writing, effective supervision, project management, municipal finance, budgeting, and purchasing, industry laws and regulations, facility operations and maintenance, public health, and environmental protection. So these are areas that we're going to focus on in our employee development project. So then we decided that we needed a vehicle to deliver this training and this development to our employees, and so we've recently created Utilities University. And all of the courses are designed to broaden the employees' workplace skills and knowledge, and it's going to be open to all interested Utilities Department employees. UU will offer traditional and non-traditional training and development opportunities to all employees, and what that will include will be instructor-led classes and online classes, and also some internship possibilities. The instructor-led classes primarily are going to be provided by Metro Technology Centers and OSU OKC. And American Water Works and Water Environment Federation offer great technical online courses that we're going to be taking advantage of, and they're all pretty reasonably priced. And so hopefully all of this will provide our employees the skills and leadership competencies they need so that they can participate in promotional opportunities. So our implementation plan is before you, and I believe that you all recently got a copy of our newsletter in your packet, so we've just recently announced it to our employees, and we're really excited about that, and we've gotten a lot of good feedback from employees and a lot of it already expressed interest. We've also developed an internal web page so that employees can go to the web page and find out more about Utilities University. We've trained training contacts throughout our department so that they can provide information to employees in satellite locations. We're finishing up right now Level 1 course development. And we're trying to manage participation, and so we're kind of phasing this in so that employees can still maintain their current work schedules, but yet still be available to take courses. We also have classes coming up for employee individual development planning. And what that means is we want employees to be responsible for their own career development. And so we're going to give them training to create a plan so that they can see where they are now and look at opportunities within the department and see where they want to be in the next couple of years. And then they'll have to work with their supervisors and their division managers to be sure that their plan meshes with the department goals. We're also going to be asking employees to take assessments because we want to be sure that they're ready to participate in Utilities University. They need to have a basic minimum skill level so that they can participate. And so there will be a skills assessment that they take, and we're doing that through Metro Technology Centers. And what that is a National Career Readiness Assessment, and it was created by ACT, who's also known for development of college testing. So it's a well-recognized assessment. But we're also giving opportunities to employees who may not be ready, and that is we have resources available to them if they need language skill development, literacy assistance, and those kinds of things, because we want all of our employees to be able to participate. After the skill assessments are completed, then we'll have enrollment, and that will be followed by orientation, and then classes hopefully are going to begin in the fall. And the result of all of this, we hope, will be that we will preserve and enhance the organizational knowledge of the Utilities Department. And also we'll be giving our employees an opportunity for career development. So it's kind of a win-win situation. So does anyone have any questions?
I've got a question. On the list of skills that you put up a few minutes ago, one of the items I thought was missing was customer service. If you all do such an exceptional job now, I would hate to lose that ability.
Honestly, there are going to be so many offerings, we couldn't list them all.
Okay.
And that indeed will be one of those.
You all do a great job now, and I would hate to lose that.
We do.
The second thing, is this kind of a procedure being done in all the city departments?
We're starting.
Because you're number one.
But we're working with, the Utilities Department hired Metro Tech, and those classes are available to help us with core things. They did a lot of our did and still do a lot of our safety training and our operator certification training that's a requirement of our ODEQ permits, for example. So they're doing some base level training that's necessary to keep the utility running. But some of those are available to people outside the department. Frankly, we've been very mono-focused on getting people in. The utilities industry generally, for example, Oklahoma City has always been able to hire people from the smaller utilities around the metro. Frankly, utilities in the metro are now losing more staff to the technical jobs that are being created in our area. Those greater jobs coming into our area, fabulous positive thing, but they're making recruiting harder for us. And so I have some desperation decided we're going to have to bring people up on our own while we continue to try to recruit more.
Recruiting at the college graduate level, the first step, is salary a factor? Are we able to pay a competitive salary?
We pay a competitive salary, yes. I think the thing that I have seen in government employment is that there will be sudden peaks in a job, in a location. Suddenly that job goes up $10,000. It takes us a long time to think that through, and we don't have an automatic, let's adjust salaries by a lot because the job gets hot, for example. But we have a process. And overall, those things work out so that we're successful.
Do you consider much transfers between departments as part of it?
Yes.
So you identify somebody who has some specific talents in another department?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I had a question about the statistics about the percentages of people that would be retiring soon. Is it your feeling that that's out of line for most other cities' utilities department, or people in the utilities industry generally? Are we older than the average? Or we?
I think we're pretty consistent. I've listened to webinars from other utilities around the country, and we're pretty consistent and in a similar position as they are.
Okay. Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
I would accept a motion to receive both those reports. Motion and a second to receive the reports. Voting, please. Are there other comments? If not, I think we will go to executive session and be back.